In today's video tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate a really cute Halloween cake design idea, which will feature lots of monsters that we are going to make with pretzel rods, candy coating, sprinkles, and lots of eyeballs. Okay, so now I am starting the process of making our little monsters. So we're starting out with pretzel rods, and as you can see, these are really long. So I'm just trimming them down, and I'm trimming them all to about the same height. I just trimmed the first one and held it up to my cake to get the height that I wanted, and I'm just using this as a guide for all of them. If you want to, you can vary the height a little bit. It's totally up to you. But to add a little color, I have some melted candy melts. These are just melted orange candy melts. It's a little thick right now, but that's okay because our monster is going to be a little bit textured. But if you need for it to be smoother, you can either heat it up a little bit more in the microwave, or you could mix in a little bit of melted vegetable shortening. Just a little bit at a time until you get the consistency that you like. Okay. And so I just have a ton of sprinkles, and I have different eyes. I have these pre-made eyes, but also you could use just sugar pearls, and then for the iris you could just use a food coloring pen to make it look like an eye. So you've got some choices there. And then however many eyes you like. Since they're monsters or aliens, really anything goes. And then I'll just add a few sprinkles. Okay, so you might want to use paper plates and just kind of change out your plate depending on which bottle of sprinkles you're using, so that any excess you can pour back into the container. Okay, so that's just a quick and easy little monster. If you want to, you can also leave a little space under the eyes if you want to add a little mouth with darker candy melts a little bit later. But let's just put him on our cookie sheet. I have a wax paper lined cookie sheet back here, and we're just lining up our different monsters as we go. Okay, and here's another one. As you can see, I'm just taking a scoop of the chocolate with my plastic spoon, and I'm just kind of loading up our pretzel. And you can tap off the excess. And for this one, I'm going to use some bigger sprinkles. Actually, let me do the eyes first. So I'm going to do sugar pearls for these eyes, just so you can see how that goes. As you can see, these little monsters are super easy to make, but they are kind of time consuming. And because my chocolate's a little bit thin, some of them are just kind of sliding off, so you might need to reapply a sprinkle here and there. Okay, so for right now, I'm just going to set this on our cookie sheet. It's lined with wax paper, and it can set up at room temperature, or if you need to speed things along, you can refrigerate it, and then we'll go back in with our black food coloring pen and add the eyes. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to show you really quickly for these orange ones, or for any little monster that you're making. You can build up just a little bit more chocolate where you want to put the eye, and that will give you a little bit of extra chocolate that when you push the eye in, it sort of pushes down, and you have just like a little bump. That one that one didn't do it exactly like I thought it would. Let's just create a little eyelid. Sometimes it'll create an eyelid on its own when you push it in, but if not, you can just take a little bit of excess chocolate on your spoon and cut across the eye. It looks more monster-like. Okay, so now I'm going to make a ghost, and so to do that, of course, we have our white. I'm just going to tap it to get some of that buildup off. Okay, so I'll just decorate him once he has set up. But for a mummy, we'll do the same thing. First, I get a base coat on there. And I do let my chocolate go pretty close to the bottom of the pretzel, but I still want to leave enough space for me to have something to hold on to. Okay, so that would be the base coat, and then we'll go in and just kind of let the chocolate drip off of the spoon, and it comes down in a thinner kind of drizzle. And we'll just kind of repeat this over and over again until it looks like a mummy. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. And then I'm just going to use 2 little sugar pearls for his eyes, which we'll go back and fill in once it has set up. Okay, so I might make a few more of these mummies and ghosts, and then we'll meet right back. Here are a couple more little monsters, and so these are ones that I had used sugar pearls for. And the nice thing about these is that you can have them looking straight ahead, or if you want to make them looking to the side, you can do that. So it just kind of looks like they're all making kind of funny expressions looking at each other. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to show you is for this mummy, for example, you can see where there was some excess chocolate that spilled to the side when I placed it on the wax paper, and that can just snap off later once it's set up, or you can just take a sharp knife and just trim it away. Okay, so with our remaining white chocolate, I have tinted it with green. This is, you can't even read the label anymore, but it's this is Americolor oil candy color. You want to use oil-based color because it if you use the water-based color, it could thicken up the chocolate and make it harder to work with. Okay, so I'm going to do some little Frankensteins with this. Okay, so just tap off the excess, and as we tap it, it does kind of smooth everything out. And I'm going to do all of his accents after this green has set up. So I'm just going to set him on our little wax paper. And I might do another one that's just a funny little monster. So let's do one more. I'll tell you once we're completely finished, I'll write under the video how many pretzels it took to go all the way around. So you can see as the chocolate cools off, it does hold texture better if you wanted to make fur. But I'm just going to tap this down. And I think I'll be piping on a mouth onto this one later. So I'm not going to cover everything with sprinkles, but I'll do some purple hair, and then I'll do a couple of eyes. Okay. All right, so we'll meet back once these have set up. Okay, so now that these have set up, and by the way, in case you noticed earlier, I forgot to put his eyes on, so I just did that really quickly by dotting on some of our chocolate and just sticking on the eyes. But this is going to be a little Frankenstein, and so I've melted some brown candy coating and just put it into this bag. Ideally, you would be able to do all of this with just a black food coloring pen, but I was having some trouble with it marking on the chocolate. It just wasn't marking on it for some reason, which happens every now and then. Okay, so there's some funny little hair for Frankenstein, and then we'll just give him a little mouth. He's a happy Frankenstein. Here's a little ghost. So we'll do an oval. And by the way, with this disposable piping bag, I just snip the tip away. Just a small little snip. Oh no. Let's see, I need a toothpick. He looks like he's wearing sunglasses. Okay, let's see if I can fix it. Just gonna rotate the little toothpick. Okay. There, he's fixed. Okay, so really quickly I wanted to show you, these are all of the monsters that I made, and they're all, as I said, really easy to make. It does take time though with all of the different colors, so just keep that in mind. You might want to limit yourself to just a few colors. I think they're really cute. We made way more than we're going to need, but I'll let you know how many little monsters it takes. Okay, so here is an 8-inch cake that we frosted in our fluffy vanilla buttercream frosting. And it's a good idea after you've crumb coated the cake and then you go back in with your second layer of frosting, you want to go ahead and do your little monsters soon after that before the frosting gets overly crusted. So now it's just a matter of just pressing the monsters into the cake and just kind of keep an eye on how you're distributing your color, and pick and choose from your favorites. If you have a lot of monsters like we do, I'm just going to be choosing my favorite ones. Let's see, let me get a Frankenstein. Also, if your frosting gets too crusted, you can always just go back in and put on a little more frosting just to make sure that each of your monsters is really secure. Okay, so I think this is going to be really cute and really fun. I'm going to work my way all the way around, and we'll meet back in just a few minutes when we're further along. Okay, so I made it all the way around. I think these monsters are so funny and cute. It took, I think it was 32 monsters to make it all the way around. But I wanted to mention that if you don't have enough time to make that many monsters, I think this would also be a really cute cake just to do, you know, just the front section, so maybe 10 or something like that. But I love the look. And then the top could be left plain, or if you want to add color with your frosting, you could just make a tinted frosting for the top. But I'm going to use candy corn just because that's the most colorful candy that we have right now. And so I'm just going to kind of mound them up and spread them around just for even more color. Even though definitely the focal point is the monsters, it's kind of fun to have more color and candy on top. Okay, so our cake is finished. I love how this came out. I think it's such a fun and funny cake for Halloween. It's definitely one that kids could help out with too. So I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.